Welcome everyone to the Being Curious Show. We have two guests today for you, and the first interview you're going to hear is with Ali Levine, and then we've got Mark E. Scott. And, you know, in the Ali Levine interview, this was someone we've already had on the show before.
Yep.
And, you know, I think it's someone we'll continue to have on because she's just so present. She's prepared. She knows her stuff. And she's created some really exceptional and accessible ways for people to either enhance their well-being journey or just get started. And I encourage everyone, if they like this interview, go back, because the first time we interview her, she tells a lot about her story, and, you know, she really went through some difficult, challenging things, and she's just emerged as someone with a lot of light and warmth, and she just has some great invitations for people. I think that this is a show that's very inviting and certainly one to enjoy. And then you actually read one of Mark's books. And,
well, hold on, before you go to Mark's, this is awesome.
Yeah.
She has a 22-day breath challenge.
That's right.
22 is a sign from her grandmother, and we actually ended recording the show in 22 minutes and 22 seconds. So it was really, really powerful on that. So that's wrapping up Ali. I just wanted to throw that in there.
No, so good. Glad you did.
Mark, his books are great. It's a series. It's on a heavy topic of suicide, but there's hope, and there's just a lot going on in these books, and you get to see a lovely side of Cincinnati as a character in the book. And I invite people at your bookstore, on Amazon, or wherever you enjoy books and buying books, check out Drunk Log by Mark E. Scott, and then the next one is First Date by Mark Scott. And just letting everyone know that's my wonderful timer so we don't go over. And there we go. Enjoy the show.
Attention, curious practitioners in the realm of transformative experiences, holistic wellness, intuitive guidance, and metaphysical arts. Are you ready to expand your horizons and take your practice to new heights? Join the Edge Partner Directory, where your expertise can shine and your services can transform lives. We are dedicated to creating a community of practitioners who are as curious and passionate as you are about guiding others on their journeys of self-discovery, healing, and growth. As a member of the Edge Partner Directory, you will connect with a network of like-minded practitioners who share your curiosity and passion for exploring the depths of human potential, and showcase your unique offerings to a diverse audience of seekers actively looking for transformative experiences here, there, and everywhere. Embrace your curiosity and take the next step in your practice's journey to becoming an Edge partner. Learn more at edgedirectory.net. Again, go to edgedirectory.net.
Discover the perfect routine to stay in shape and find your inner peace this holiday season with Strains of the Earth Sanctuary. Find the perfect balance with our diverse range of yoga classes, rejuvenate your mind and soul with our meditation retreats, and experience the soothing power of sound healing and so much more. Are you looking for a place to host your next holiday get-together? Our sanctuary space is now available to rent for all the celebrations of your life, whether it's a birthday party, holiday celebration, work event, or just because. We have you covered. Join us in Jordan, Minnesota, and treat yourself to a holiday season filled with relaxation and rejuvenation. Sign up for your next class online now or reserve the studio at mnsotesanctuary.com. Join us and discover your inner zen amidst the holiday chaos at mnsotesanctuary.com. That's mnsotesanctuary.com.
Welcome to the Being Curious Show. I'm Brian Mariani, founder of No Shift Own.
And I'm Kelly Wagner, publisher of Edge Magazine. Our show is about curiously connecting teachers and seekers on a wide range of topics in a safe space. Few topics will be off limits, and we have some amazing guests to share with you.
Our intention is that our conversations will spark your own curiosity to create a life that lights you up and inspires you to be kind, thoughtful, open-minded to yourself and others.
So, Brian, what are you curious about today?
Well, Kelly, here we go for another show.
Here we
It's great to
go.
be with you today.
It's great to be with you. Look at my microphone. It's like this own little like.
I can see you just through the arm of the mic. It's
I know.
actually
There we go.
It's
Like-
a good framing. There you are.
Hello, everybody. How are you? Yeah, go for it.
No, I was just going to say, we're presently recording here in November, kind of mid-November. And this is always a very interesting time of year because I feel like there's like a group of people who say, you know what, it's the holiday season, I'll figure stuff out in the new year.
Yeah.
And then there's kind of another group of people that go, okay, I really want to keep the momentum going. I actually want to figure out new ways to like improve my health or my well-being towards the end of the year and finish off strong so that the beginning of the year is, propelled forward even more. So I'm excited to really be interviewing and connecting with people here that are kind of in that latter group where they're going, hey, don't just give up at the end of the year. Let's really hone in and find the best ways to up level. What are your thoughts as we kind of round out 23?
Well, that's
here?
the way we should do. But then another part of me is like, I've done the November, December slide before, right? But then what's really funny, and I'll just be honest with the people, those are the times that all of a sudden it's January and I put on like 13 pounds. And I'm like, how did I put on so much weight in because you just kind of mindlessly either you choose not to do that workout or not to do that breath work or you choose something convenient over what's right. And then it just becomes a pattern and then you're just in a full slide. And then all of a sudden it's January 2nd because it's not the 1st because you're still partying then. And then you're like, oh gosh, okay.
Well,
so
so here's my like little take on this is that the same way a good decision can be the start of a next good decision, it's the exact same with a bad decision. And it's like, that's where masterclass people differentiate themselves because they can go, okay, good decision, compound, good decision.
Yeah.
And there's kind of this interesting thing that happens this time of year where it's like, okay, to your point, I'm not going to work out. And then it's like, okay, well, I have to go to the party and I got to get the kids presents. And then there's that Auntie Anne's at the mall with the pretzel and then the year ends and it can be hard. See, people think they can just on a day go into January and be like, okay, my new life starts. But you have to reciprocate and recover from 2 months of potentially bad behavior. So I'm excited for our guest today because I think for people to listen in, there's a huge opportunity with our guest today to really laser focus in and have some good practices to end out 23.
Well, and she's a friend of the show. She's been on a couple times. And I actually just got back from Sedona at a retreat, 11/11 Breakthrough Retreat, a partnership with Blistopia Retreats and Mary Newstrom, friend of the show, of Zenith High. And about halfway through the retreat, we did, led by Mark, who's going through some breathwork classes of his own, and he's going to become a teacher. Oh my God, there goes the mic. And it was so powerful, and the attendees were just like breakthrough. Like it was awesome. So let's bring Ali in. Ali,
here.
welcome to the show. There she is.
Thank you. So excited to be here. Love what you guys have been chatting about the last few minutes. I'm like nodding my head like, yes. And I love that you just got to be a part of some beautiful breath work, Kelly. So magical, especially on 11/11. I mean, we had the 11/11 portal. Now we just went through a massive new moon. So it has been some really beautiful, potent energy. And I think what you guys are speaking to of, coming into the end of this year, I think especially just because of where we are, astrology wise and planet wise and all the things going on, I really do feel in my spirit, there's like this really deep shift happening, especially for those who are awakened to it, which obviously here on your show, very much being curious and conscious. And I feel even though who aren't that awake are starting to kind of wake up just in the fact of what you were speaking to, Brian, of like, oh, that decision might not actually be the right decision. And they're actually becoming conscious of it instead of just doing it asleep. And this is where we're starting to see these massive shifts, and also the mastery of what you spoke to, because like, no judgment, I used to be that person where it was like, I know that's not good for me, but I'm going to do it anyways. And then you really see, the pounds later, or you feel the depression later, or whatever it might be. And you're like, oh, actually, I really knew what the right decision was. I just went against it. And this is where I feel like, our ego comes into play, where some people will tell you it's for protection. Some people will tell you it's there to, destroy you, take whatever resonates and leave the rest. I feel like it's more of a protection situation where you're just comfortable. You've been in this program for so long, and that comfort is telling you, well, that's what has worked and that's what's normal. And the really beautiful thing about breath work, and why I got certified in this work, is because when you regulate your nervous system and take yourself out of the ego and just bring in enough oxygen, enough into the body to not only regulate, but then also reset. The ego has no choice but to go away. The oxygen makes it so that literally the neuroreceptors in the back of your brain shut off. The noise is gone. The stories are gone. The ego is done talking, and you are home with yourself and your soul. And this is why I say, come home to yourself through the breath. And you then are able to access, oh, what is actually my mastery of what I actually want to do, and continue these compound decisions that are going to change my life and help me actually quantum leap, which is what I've done in my life. And I know you guys have done in yours. Or I'm going to stay stuck and I'm going to keep playing the victim and saying, why is nothing changing? Because I do something here and there, but nothing's happening. Well, because you're not mastering and you're also not regulating.
Well, and I love that, Ali, because your work, and I think what you would call your purpose and your path in life that you've come to, is really creating the most simple and practical way to your best self. And it's really, and it's not your opinion or my opinion or some study at Harvard's opinion. It's probably the most provable science that is known around the world, that breath work, and especially practiced and honed in breath work, is an essential key to overall well-being and certainly optimal living as well. And there's this quote that you have that I absolutely love, and I want everyone to hear it, and that's that you are never more than one breath away from healing. And it's such a profound, simple, true statement. And
oh my
gosh, that's really what resonates with me. I think there's a lot of people out there who want to kind of overcomplicate things, and your path and your practice is, in essence, let's find time to breathe, and then let's get better and better at that, and that will lead to better decisions, better practices. So if you want to talk a little bit about how you do that professionally, you start with the basics, but then what can that lead to, for people?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that quote. And, honestly, that was my journey. It was like, it was not overnight. It was not something that, like, oh, my life changed. Yes, there was a breakdown moment that led to a breakthrough in one session, and that was powerful. And that was definitely the catalyst, which happens for many, but not to all. So, always take, how it helps you and what resonates, and then continue on in your journey. But for me, it really made such a profound difference. And the more I practiced, like you said, the more I honed in on it, 3 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day. It wasn't an hour session each time. Okay, I'm a mom of 3 little ones. Let me paint a picture. I homeschool. I'm very much against a lot of the systems, if you will. So I do a lot of, I take things into my own, space. I have a couple of different wellness companies I run. I have clients I do breath work with. I'm married. I have a lot going on, like many of us. So I choose to be intentional with my time, and I choose to be intentional with my breath. So when I start my morning, I start, with a few deep breaths. Sometimes it's 2 minutes long. Sometimes it's 3 minutes. Sometimes it's 7 minutes. I think the max I get in the morning is like 10 minutes, because I have a 1-year-old who wants to nurse. So, just being real. But, I say that because I think so many times, like you said, as humans, we overcomplicate. Oh, it's going to take so long. Oh, I don't have time. Oh, I have to do this. I have to do that. Well, while you were making all of those excuses and going through your Rolodex of what couldn't happen,
You could have been breathing.
Thank you. Jinx, you could have been breathing. It's true. And again, it's no judgment, because I used to be there. I had every excuse under the sun. I would just, tell myself that it wasn't possible to have the time. I didn't have time to meditate until I came to a place really of like everything in my life was chaos and I didn't know what else to do because I was just drowning. And, for me, meditation was the beginning of the journey, but breathwork was really the massive transformation in the journey. And that's why I got certified in the work. And so when we speak to the essence of this, it's a practice. It's really being intentional and saying, instead of getting on my phone and scrolling on TikTok, everyone knows what I'm talking about for, hours on end, because it's literally a digital drug. I mean, they know this. They did that on purpose to get those dopamine hits going. Give yourself the dopamine hit. Like, pour into you, pour into your self-love, self-compassion. Like, you're the most important, thing, not this, phone that you were all addicted to, and myself included. Like, take yourself away and say, I'm going to take a few minutes to do that breath work and see how I feel. And notice, even if it's not like massive shifts, you're going to be more present with your family, with your spouse. You're going to be more present with your work, with your community. Like, you're going to notice that little shifts equal big shifts. And then that's where the quantum leaps happen. That's where the expansion happens in your life, because all of a sudden you're attracting the right people because you're in that energy. You're attracting, the right shows, like your guys' show, because you're in that energy. You're attracting, abundance in all forms of your life because you're calling in that worthiness by telling yourself it's worthy for me to take the time out to breathe and get off the hamster wheel and get out of the autopilot and being asleep and become conscious of my life. And this is where breath work becomes really profound.
So tell us about the 22-day breathwork challenge that you have going on right now, because that's just perfect.
Thank you.
And why 22? Why not 21? Why not 30? Why not 11? Tell us about what 22 is to you.
Good question. Yeah. Okay. So, well, first off, 22, because it's, one of my personal favorite angel numbers. Just like super quick backstory spiritually. My grandmother passed away in 2013. She was my absolute very best friend on this earth and is now my angel on the other side. And when she first started coming to me, she would always show me 22. It was like 22 or 222 everywhere. So whenever I have the opportunity to bring these numbers into my space energetically, I do. And since I know from most mastery and things I've learned and studied that it's 21 days to really create a ritual, a practice, or a habit, I wanted to give you one extra day bonus wise to have 22 days to breathe. So what is the challenge? It's engaging you and saying, hey, step into your life and breathe with me for 22 days live on Zoom in a sacred container where you'll be held, you'll feel safe. And I'll be taking you through different breathwork exercises every day, different intentions, a little bit of divine coaching, talking through what might be coming up, and then moving through it even further with the breath and leaving you with more to kind of go back with as sacred homework, as I like to call it, to help you continue on your journey each day. I'll also give you journal prompts and some divine downloads that I personally receive, and we kind of move through the container that way. And if you're not there live, my app, Breathe and Be, houses all the replays every day, and you have them for life. So once you choose to invest in yourself and say yes, I want you to know that you own these recordings, you own this content, whether you're live or on the replay or not. I want you to have that work, that mastery to go back to, because that was a big shift and change in my life after I invested into different courses and certifications and studies. Being able to go back to these places and these sacred containers, not just energetically, but also like memorization wise, was very helpful for me to continue on my metamorphosis and my change. So I want everyone else to have, that type of ability with my challenge.
So you've really provided some very accessible, simple tools. By the way, everything is literally on your website, alilevine.com, ALILEVINE.com,
Yes,
scrolling across the bottom of our screen here. So what would you say is, in your essence of master around everything you're doing, what would you say people can really grasp onto here, as we're wrapping up 2023? What would be your invitation to people so that they can not only live out 2023 in the best way possible, but really set themselves up for, life ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So I would say, look at going into 2024, like, how do I want to start my year? But more importantly, like, how do I want to start my next day? I think so many times, and I know this is true for me, I got so caught up in like, what's the next week? what's the next month, what's the next 6 months. And that overwhelmed me to the point of depression and making excuses and being in anxiety and all these different things. So again, going back to the breath, it's one breath at a time, right? So it's like, what's that next moment? How do I change in this next moment? Because we all, see each moment, and we're not guaranteed anything else, right? So instead of looking ahead so far, it's, what does that next moment look like for me if I took a conscious breath, if I chose to get into meditation, get still with myself, regulate my system so that I actually can receive and be present, and then start to make changes and decisions from that place, because that's really where the gold is, because your triggers start to actually reflect and show you what's actually going on, and you can make those changes. You start to actually become conscious of what your decisions are versus just doing them asleep and continuing on. And then we start to move into our mastery, and you see that you have your own gifts, because we all do. We all have our own special gifts and spiritual gifts, but we're not necessarily tapping into them unless we're actually conscious of what's going on. So starting with the breath is going to let you expand into so much more. So I would say, don't even look at the end of 2023. Don't even worry about 2024. Start now. If you're listening right now, if you're watching right now, start now and take a deep breath and then go from there.
Amazing. I mean, so spot on. And, I think for anyone who has even made the decision to do that once, whether it's, okay, I'm going to just breathe for a minute, or I'm going to breathe for 10 seconds, or I'm going to choose to eat a healthy meal, or, figure out how much water I should be drinking every day, or whatever that decision is.
Yeah.
The compounding effect of making a good decision is so huge over time, because it gives you have an experience where, oh, that actually made me feel better. I did a deep breath and I could feel myself relax a little bit.
Yes.
And that
you
can then
recognize
take you.
that, right? Exactly. And you recognize that, and that can take you then to the next momentum. Because let's be real, life can be hard, and there's still hard moments, and there's still hard days and things that happen. But when we can come back to ourselves and our soul, we can recognize, like, but this is just a hard moment right now. This is a hard time, or maybe even a hard season. I don't have to live here. I don't have to get stuck here. And so anyone listening, like, yes, I want you to think about moving from surviving to thriving, because I really feel the collective is ready for that and needs to know, like, that is possible. We don't have to be stuck here. We get to make each conscious decision to actually change our lives, and then quantum leap in our lives. And that's where the excitement comes, when you start to see these, like you said, those quantum leaps where everything starts to change because of one decision you made. So breath work, meditation, eating right, just being present in a moment, these types of shifts are letting you come back to your body and understand and embody this work and say, oh, this is who I am as a soul, and get you out of the autopilot and get you back into your heart space, right? Sometimes it's even just sitting and connecting with your heart. Sometimes I'll just sit and I'll just hold the field and just feel my heart and just be in presence and gratitude that my heart is beating, and that I feel the love, and I send that love out, and it's like, imagine what collective shifts we would have if that was the space we all started our day in, So it's like, breath work is amazing. Yes. But if that's something you're not ready to do yet, then just start with regulating your body and your nervous system. Allow your body to be still and not in the go, go, go mode. And you will notice the shifts in your life. And I'd be honored if anyone wants to work with me. I do one-on-one sessions as well. I have my app, Breathe and Be, as you mentioned, which is on the App Store and Google Play. So you can go there and use the different breathwork exercises. If you're not ready to work with a facilitator yet, it's a great place to kind of start your journey. And then, of course, if you're wanting expansion in your life, come join my challenge, because it's going to be so much fun. And the testimonials are on the site that explain how much everyone's transformed from the last one.
So tell us about, as we have 2 minutes left, candy and sugar season.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we were talking about this backstage. So look, this is no judgment, but everyone loves to phrase this time of year as cold and flu season. And I really feel it's candy and inflammation season. It's us putting way more into the body than we normally do, more partying, more food that's not good for us, dyes, toxins, you name it. It's all going into our body. And it affects us. And it doesn't just affect us physically, it affects us mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I personally feel it clouds my third eye and my judgment. I notice like that I'm not, as sharp, and the brain fog is there. I think that's something really important people need to think about, and again, it's not shaming or judging. It's just, how do I want my body to feel and feel regulated? And can I be intentional of what I choose to actually put in versus just shoving it all into my system and thinking I'm just going to bounce back come January 1 and everything's going to feel good? No, because the body needs you to re-regulate and move through to come back to homeostasis. So just keep that in mind. It really is that candy and inflammation, emotional inflammation on the body. It's not just physical.
Well, thank you so much, Ali. We love having you on the show. You're a bright light and spark, and your energy goes through the radio waves and on YouTube and
thank you.
Wherever this goes. So we do hope for everyone listening that you'll take something. And I love, Ali, there's no judgment. You said, look, if breath work is something to try, go for it. If it's meditation, if it's a green drink or water or whatever it is, just take one step in the right direction, and we'll all be much happier for it. And so thank you, Ali, for being here. AliLevine.com. Check her out. Join her challenge. Get on her app. Kelly, any final thoughts?
Just breathe. Seriously,
take a deep breath.
It's so powerful, and it's free. Right?
Yes.
Feel it.
It's literally your power within you, your divine tool. You were given this for a reason. So just
breathe and be. Thank you, Ali.
Thank you.
Have a great one, everyone. This is the Being Curious Show.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Do you or someone in your family suffer from nightmares? Is your home cluttered and you can't seem to clear it out? Your home or office may have low vibrational energy, and it could be impacting you and your family. Using the ancient techniques of dowsing, Master Dowser Annette Regallo can raise the vibration of your home or office by identifying and curing stress lines and negative vortexes that may be creating disharmony in your home or office. Annette has over 20 years of dowsing experience and is passionate about creating high vibrational spaces for others to live and work. Contact Annette today at 612-394-3736 or AnnetteRegallo.com to schedule your free dowsing consultation. When you transform the energy of your environment, you transform your life. Remember, that's AnnetteRegallo.com. AnnetteRegallo.com. Is your space aligned with your dreams? Do you feel inspired when you walk in the door? Carol Hyder can help you create a space that you love, where you thrive, and where you always want to be. Using her 30 years of experience as a feng shui consultant, teacher, author, and trainer, she can help you bring forth the inspired essence of your home or office, making it a place where you feel whole and safe. Learn the specific feng shui adjustments that Carol has seen the most important, such as determining which room in your home should be your favorite, why your stove may be affecting your health, and why your office may be holding you back. Contact Carol at 612-760-1159 or carolhyder.com to discuss the specifics with a personal appointment. By elevating the energy of your space, it becomes sacred and you'll be forever changed. Discover more at carolhyder.com. That's carolehyer.com.
Welcome to the Being Curious Show. I'm Brian Mariani, founder of No Shift Own.
And I'm Kelly Wagner, publisher of Edge magazine. Our show is about curiously connecting teachers and seekers on a wide range of topics in a safe space. Few topics will be off limits, and we have some amazing guests to share with you.
Our intention is that our conversations will spark your own curiosity to create a life that lights you up and inspires you to be kind, thoughtful, open-minded to yourself and others.
So, Brian, what are you curious about today?
Okay, Kelly, here is what I'm curious about.
That I'm in the jungle?
Special, well...
I'm in the jungle today. Sorry.
We could talk about that if you want.
Cue the Guns N' Roses.
Of your setup there in studio. But seriously, do you have a special dish that you're known for making over the holiday season?
Dude, I wish you would have had me
I-
like, yeah.
I feel like
yeah.
you just thought of like so many other things that people have made that you're like, ooh, I like those.
Okay, I'm going to give you
But
three.
this was a question for you.
This is quick. There's
Okay.
three, and they're all inspired by other people. Okay, first one, Carney Wilson from Wilson Phillips.
Okay, yeah.
Bigger girl, gotta love her. She makes a macaroni and cheese that has, no lie, 11 different kinds of cheeses in it. And you'd think
yeah.
it sounds obscene, but they like harmonize together. So if I'm in that mood, there's that. Then there is that when I worked at Best Buy in the promotions and events area, we did a little cookbook, a BBA cookbook, and there is this dip called beer dip, and it's cream cheese, powdered ranch dressing, and a half can of beer. Whip it up, put it with anything, pretzels, salt and vinegar chips, all that. Every single party I bring that to, people ask me for the recipe, and it's super simple, but it's amazing.
Okay,
And
send that to me.
I will.
I want all of these. By the
Like,
way.
they're really good.
All of them.
And then another one, I went to a carving class, like how to cut a turkey up, and how to cut a fillet up, and how to cut up a chicken, and it was really cool. It's a nice skills class, and it's called Toby's. I forget the name of it, but it is thinly sliced filet mignon on baguettes, and then you have this like horseradish creamy sauce, and then like some special like basil and herbs, and you just make them like little bite-sized pieces, and it's just flippin' to die for and glorious. So those are my three things. Thank you,
Oh
sir.
yeah, I mean that's a 3-course meal right there.
It's amazing.
You start with the mac and cheese. You get some beer dip.
Gosh.
And then you finish it off with some filet on. It's like
Little baguettes.
like a little like a croquette. You said, right?
Yeah, it's like these little things that you can just kind of like
Yeah.
just chomp on, and it's its own meal. And then you can end with beer dip as well too. I mean, it's just
Oh, yeah.
it just keeps
Just
on
round
giving.
it out.
And it's even good the next day. So like, yeah, all of that is just amazing.
You heard it here, everyone.
Don't tell your dad. Don't tell your dad
Kelly,
about
yeah,
any of those.
Kelly Wagner's keys to holiday success.
And that's how you gain 10 pounds over the holidays.
Well, I know we're excited to get started with our guest today. So who is with us today, Kelly?
Today we have novelist and chief financial officer Mark E. Scott. He is an author of Drunk Log and First Date, 2 of the 3 books in a trilogy, in a beautiful series. It's very, very powerful. He's working on the 3rd book. I think he's doing all the back end stuff on that. So really committed. And the book series is about 2 lost people finding each other during a literal and metaphorical storm. It's really true. Together they navigate their way through these parallel storms and begin to heal each other in the process. Shall we welcome Mr. Mark to the show?
Let's do that. Welcome, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hello, this is my princess. Wave.
Oh, I love your princess wave. Right?
Exceptional.
And then you can do the elbow, elbow, wrist, wrist, right? I have been in parades, and I've emceed parades. So I was schooled by Princess Kay of the Milky Way in one, and she showed me how to do that.
I think there's a class to learn that.
That's a
Well,
great
doesn't the
wave,
queen, like the queen mum, does it like that? I forget what it's like, turning on the light bulb or something. I don't know. I didn't go to that
so they
school.
don't get that's so their arm doesn't get tired.
Oh,
from
okay.
waving at the masses.
You know, the common folk like us.
They're doing this the whole time.
Yeah.
Get tired very quick. So,
Okay.
Mark, welcome to the
Mark,
show.
welcome. What do we want to? What do you want to talk
What are
about?
you curious about today?
Thanks for having me. Well, you've answered one question, about the princess wave, so I'm not curious about that anymore.
Okay, cool.
Actually, I
Check.
answered that question.
So,
So
tell
do-
us about your books.
Oh, well, so did you get a chance to read them?
I'm sorry. What?
Did you get a chance to read them?
I got through book 1.
Okay. Well, book 1, I ended up writing because of we were hiking Pikes Peak, a small group of us,
Yeah.
and she kept talking to her name's Kristen, and she's a physicist, and so I have all these science questions. She's actually an astrophysicist, so I kept asking her, Star Trek questions I've had for a good 30 or 40 years.
Right.
And she was more than happy to tell me which ones can't work and which ones can. But she told me a story about how she was on campus and was going to go out and get her drink on, and took a notebook with her to record everything she experienced drink by drink. And
Okay.
I thought, yeah, and she, like a scientist would, I suppose, a drunk scientist. And
I'm looking for charts and Gants and
right,
color coding.
like laser pointers.
Right.
And
I'm looking
here's
for
what
that.
happened at 8:33.
Right. And then here's the Long Island iced tea and then all of the aftermath of that one. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So, I thought it was a great idea, and I asked her, if I could use it for a book, and she said, yeah. She called the notebook her drunk log. So, that's how I brought the book back here to Cincinnati.
Mark, what was your favorite thing that she shared about from her drunk log? What was your favorite thing she shared from her drunk log?
You talk about Kristen,
Yeah.
the fact that she did it.
Okay, so you were just overwhelmed with the general idea.
Yeah, I just
and
thought
you got
that's
lost in
incredible.
the specifics.
I could sort of picture her sitting alone in a bar with a notebook going, another Manhattan, please.
Yeah.
And then writing about it. So
what did you feel like? Was this a download inspiration to write a book? I mean, not many people go on a hike, ask a silly question, and then write a book. So what compelled you to actually put your own pen to pad?
I needed another book idea. I had a book out called Burning Buildings, which my agent had not found a publisher for. And then after a goodly amount of rejections, she goes to write another one. And so that happened to coincide with
Pikes
that
Peak.
trip. Exactly. And so that was first, Drunk Log is actually the fourth book I've completed, first one professionally published. And it was, it's just such a unique thing. And so I brought the idea back here to Cincinnati and talked to a writer friend of mine, and a more experienced writer friend. He goes, well, what's the story around it? You can't just have him sitting at a bar getting drunk writing about it. I'm thinking, and I thought, why can't I do that? But I came up with the story of Jack and Aria. Jack is a 30-year-old engineer responsible for the death of a 7-year-old nephew. And, here's a great holiday story. Of course, a year after the accident, he decides he's going to throw himself off the Roebling suspension bridge over the Ohio River because he just can't stand the guilt and the pressure of it anymore. Yeah. And so the whole book is him going bar to bar, writing about his experiences with his nephew, his experience with his family, that sort of a paean to his life to be left behind after he throws himself off the bridge.
Off the bridge, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's a really uplifting story that you brought out.
So uplifting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really, it's a good time of year to be reading Drunk Log, I think.
Well, everybody gets super happy during the holidays, right?
Well, we were talking about this in our earlier show, Kelly, where there's kind of two groups of people at this time of year. There's the people who just kind of consciously want to fall off the wagon and just let it all go. And then there's the other group of people who are, intentionally trying to make the best of the end of the year so that they can move into the next chapter of their life.
Thank God that's over crowd.
Well, it was interesting. So just traveling, and I traveled with one of our partners, and she really is into Christmas. And I thought when she said it originally, I was like, okay. But to watch her light up thinking about Christmas, talking about Christmas. We were in a little town called Jerome, Arizona, and they had a Christmas store. And I remember driving in, and I looked over, and I was like, I'm gonna get you there. You need to go to that Christmas store and just have a lovely time. And even when we got to the hotel, she was excited because there was the Hallmark. I didn't realize Hallmark has like multiple channels for all the Christmas movies, and just looking over and seeing the joy that she had to be able to be filled with going to the store and watching the films. It was just like, oh, I don't have that same calling to Christmas, but I was really honored to hold space and watch her have that delight and that glee. Just thought I'd share.
No, I personally love Christmas, probably because it was the best part of my childhood. You know. But
So, what do you do these days, Mark, to celebrate Christmas, to celebrate, like, hearkening back to your childhood? Do you do anything ceremonially?
do you want a straight answer or the answer that popped into my head?
I want the one that popped in your head.
The answer that popped in my head is like, I get a fifth of Irish whiskey and I watch Love Actually.
Sweet. I bet you're not alone in that.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no judging here. I think that's fantastic. But what's the politically correct answer?
Well, Christmas is, I have a traditional Christmas where the kids come over and, spend it with my mom lives a block from me down there. So, it's pretty standard fare, I suppose would be the correct response. But yeah.
So tell me why, bringing back to the books, because again, your website is markescottauthor.com. Just want to make sure that people can connect with you. And then
we'll be up and running soon.
Oh, it's okay. It'll be it'll be good. And then Facebook, your handle is Mark E. Scott Author. And the same thing with Instagram. So you stayed consistent. That's really nice.
I know. I thought about using a pen name, and James K. Rowling came to mind, thinking I could maybe ride that train, accidentally. Somebody buys the book and then wonders where all the wizards are. But, I went ahead to use my real name.
No, I think it's powerful. So why should people pick up these two books? Talk to us. And I know you're a little biased since they're from you, but talk to us.
Yeah, go ahead. For me, and I don't want to sound egotistical, but I think Drunk Log came out surprisingly reflective. And I was parts that I weren't sure would work, as I was writing them, worked in the whole. I hope you felt the same way. But it turned out to be it turned out to be more than I thought it was going to be. I never really even expected Aria she was sort of a side character initially, just the bartender. And then she loomed large, and I honestly don't know how that happened. She joined the story and then became, half the story.
Half the story, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's just kind of coming in.
And I'd like to also say that, just because the main story arc is about a guy who wants to kill himself, it's still funny along the way.
Right. And then how is Cincinnati a character in the book?
Well, I live in the neighborhood where that story takes place. It's called Over the Rhine. And about 10 or 15 years ago, Over the Rhine was considered the most dangerous neighborhood in the country.
Oh, okay.
And a whole lot of people worked very hard to change that. And it's just a very cool place to be. Very easy to navigate and move around. And so I sort of made that the backdrop of the story that, the two of them are going, she's trying to chase him and he's going bar to bar, which is not hard to do in this neighborhood. You don't have to look very far. So, but the architecture, the Germans built this neighborhood about 160, 180 years ago. And there's 800 plus buildings on the historic register that can't be torn down because the architecture is so unique. And so you really get a sense of place when you're here, and that all you have to do is cross one street and the architecture changes. And it's So I love that sense of place and that it gave the story. Yeah.
So do you think we truly can change?
I used to not think that. And as I've gotten older, I've come to believe that we actually can. I mean, even serial killers generally stop killing around in their 40s, right? I just threw that out there pretty fast.
I was about to say, like, okay, that's heavy. So what, 40s? Is that just because they're bored, been there, done that? Or do they normally try to get caught?
Who knows? Maybe they don't feel as, I've never actually read why most serial killers tend to stop. It's like white men aged 20 to 40 something is the, if you were, what do they call them? The cops who
profilers. That's why okay. Yeah. So are you giving some insight onto the third book?
No.
Okay. Just thought I'd ask.
No. The second book starts with, and clearly they survive, or else I couldn't have written 2 more books. But the second book starts with them crawling out of the river and then dealing with the aftermath of their whole evening. And at the end of the book, so they only see each other at the beginning of the book and at the very end of the book. And then in book 2, they are together nearly the entire time. And it's when they really start learning about each other through various and sundry adventures that they're having with the police, firemen, and hospital personnel.
So what have you learned by being, I mean, you present yourself as a novelist and a CFO. I mean, that is an interesting story right there, just by those titles. What did you learn during this process of writing? And again, you've had other books, and I think you have other books that are going to be calling to you and downloaded and coming through. What's your biggest learning by creating this, sharing it, and then birthing it into the world?
Fear mostly. So
that's beautiful.
Once you put it out there, that's it. So burning. I've been writing since I was 8. I tried my first novel when I was about 15, and then again when I was 20, and I was in the service. But when I self-published Burning Buildings, and once I thought it was all done, I kept finding things I felt I needed to tweak, because it is hard to release it. It's hard to go, okay, this is it, and I'm not going to change this again. And if you put yourself into something like that, you're putting you out into the universe for anybody to critique, for anybody to judge, in a way that we don't generally do. I mean, you guys are put yourselves out I don't know how often you do the podcast, but every time you're doing it, you're putting bits of yourself out in the ether,
right?
For anybody to say, oh, they suck, or they're awesome, or something in between. So yeah, I would say fear.
And that's all been said, like, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I kind of had to and I decided that I wouldn't allow that to stop me.
Good.
So luckily the books have been well reviewed.
Absolutely. And they're an easy,
quite a bit of money to make that happen.
They're an easy read. You have a really beautiful writing style, and it's easy to get to get into the book and feel it. And actually, are you going to do audiobooks?
That's an ongoing discussion. My publisher started off as an audiobook company, hence the name Speaking Volumes. I don't know how many I need to sell before he's willing to invest the money into hiring somebody who can speak better than me.
Honestly, I was just about to say, I think you could do it. You have a great voice.
That's very, I'm doing this on purpose. Usually it's very squeaky and
okay. There we go. Well, we are coming to the end of our time together, and I just really want to encourage people there's a lot of books out there, and there's a lot of people that you can read their content. Mark he's worth exploring, and I'm going to hold the books up again. Here's 2 of 3. Again, the third one's in the can. I just, Cincinnati as a character of the book, talking about suicide, talking about how we impact each other. I mean, there's just so much that you can unwrap. These are great books, and I really, really invite people to share the time and invest in it and just jump into Drunk Log and First Date. You can get them on Amazon. And Mark's website, again, is markescottauthor.com. And if you want to find him on Facebook or Instagram, his handles is the same, Mark E. Scott Author. And thank you, Mark, for being here.
Thank you both. Yeah, I'm honored that you enjoyed them. Yeah.
And have fun. Happy holidays, everybody. I'm just kidding. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you guys.